What's good, YouTube? It's me, Squid, back in another Squidio. What you're seeing right now on the screen is the start of an end board that can be assembled in Tearlaments by using the new Earthbound Immortal cards. Yes, we are getting some new Earthbound Immortal cards, and they're absolutely busted. Guys, check this out. Yes, you heard me right. The Earthbound Immortal cards are actually viable. Remember those cards that came out like 15 years ago that were absolute garbage and pack filler? Well, apparently we're getting new support, and now these guys are actually good as an engine. Huge shout out to my friend Anthony Ackroth for actually taking the time to create these combos. The main starter is Earthbound Prisoner Groundkeeper, which is a level 1 Fiend Tuner. Now, those of you guys that don't know the lore about Earthbound Immortals, they're kind of based on the Nazca lines found in the Peru. I got it wrong originally. I thought they were totem poles. Now, this card is a level 1 Fiend Tuner, and when he's normal or special summon, you can actually special summon a level 5 or lower Earthbound monster from your deck. Also, these guys all lock you into fusion and synchro monsters for the rest of the turn, but that doesn't really matter because we're playing Tearlaments. What we're gonna do first is we do require Fenrir for this combo because the level 7 meaty bodies do come in handy for the synchro and the fusion plays. So we're gonna go ahead and use Fenrir to add a copy of Tearlaments Kashira. Now from here, we are actually gonna normal summon the Earthbound Groundkeeper and special summon out this guy, Earthbound Prisoner Linewalker. This is a level 3 Fiend Tuner that says if this card is normal or special summoned, you can add one Earthbound Prison, which is a new field spell, or Harmonic Synchro Fusion from your deck or graveyard to your hand. Harmonic Synchro Fusion is a new fusion spell that we will be taking advantage of in this combo. We are going to add the Harmonic Synchro Fusion, which says send 2 face-up monsters you control to the graveyard, a tuner and non-tuner. Special summon a fusion monster and a synchro monster from your extra deck that can be fusion or synchro summoned using only those 2 materials in the graveyard. So very, very interesting. Now, we are actually going to synchro off the Kashira Fenrir and the Earthbound Prisoner Linewalker. Remember, it's a level 3 tuner to go immediately into Baron on the 4th summon. So this is really important because we want to be anti-nib proof, especially given how popular that card will be after Fire Kings and the new Snake Eyes stuff will be meta. Then we're going to summon out the Tearlaments Kashira by banishing the Fenrir. We're going to use the effect to mill 3, ideally hitting some Tearlaments along the way. But for the purpose of this combo, we won't do any crazy RNG, just showing you what is possible at the very minimum. And then we're going to actually synchro off. Remember, Earthbound Prisoner Groundkeeper is a level 1 tuner. So basically off of him, you get the 1 level 1 tuner and the 1 level 3 tuner on top of the Harmonic Synchro Fusion. Very, very nice for a normal summon, right? Now we are going to synchro summon into the Earthbound Servant Geo Griffin. This is a level 8 synchro monster that requires a dark tuner plus a non-tuner monster. Quick effect, you can special summon 1 Earthbound monster from your graveyard in defense mode, except Earthbound Servant Geo Griffin. We're going to use the effect on the summon to resurrect back that same Earthbound Prisoner Groundkeeper who is still a tuner, and then from there we can activate Harmonic Synchro Fusion, which says send 2 face-up monsters you control, a tuner and non-tuner, special summon a fusion monster that could be fusion with them, as well as a synchro monster that equates to level 9 in this case, right? Because their levels added up. So we can summon out Stellar Wind Wolfrayet, which is effectively a Nibiru. It says it once per turn, if this card's attack is 4,000 or higher, you can shuffle both this card and all monsters your opponent controls in the deck, and he gains 300 attack every time another monster's effect is activated. So you can kind of bait that as well on your own by triggering your tier effects during your opponent's turn. And then we are going to go into this giant squid, very fitting for the channel, Earthbound Servant Geo Kraken, who says 2 Earthbound monsters to fusion summon him. If this card is special summoned, you can add 1 field spell from your deck or your graveyard to hand. If a monster is special summoned from your opponent's extra deck, you can destroy as many monsters your opponent controls as possible and inflict 800 to them for each monster destroyed by this effect. Obviously, we are going to take advantage of the trigger effect on the summon to add a copy of Primitive Planet Pearl Rhino, activate that, and add Sheeran to our hand. And this is just the start of our combo, okay? So from here, we've replenished the second card that we need. Remember, this is a 2-card combo, Fenrir and the monster, but we replenished the Fenrir by adding a copy of Sheeran. And then from here, we can just start our Tearlaments plays by activating Sheeran, because we do have 4 other cards in our hand still. This is turn 1. And another cool thing you can actually do instead of summoning Stellar Windwolf Wolfrayet is you can actually go into Shenshin. Yes, the virtual world card, which serves as a walking macrocosmos, highly, highly effective against Snake Eyes stuff and also against Fire King stuff, right? So this is actually really, really cool. Now, another really cool thing that you can actually do just off of Earthbound Prisoner Groundkeeper alone is obviously normal summon him, and then we're going to use the effect to special summon a level 5 or lower Earthbound monster from our deck or graveyard. Bear in mind, he can actually summon out from the graveyard, so this is very interesting. If we have to mill any Earthbound monsters off of a tier limit stuff, we can just resurrect it off the grave instead, right? So it means we don't have to play multiple copies of the ones we don't want. Now, instead of going to the level 3, we're actually going to summon out Earthbound Prisoner, yep, the fish, Stone Sweeper, who is a level 5 non-tuner. And this card says, if a card is in a field zone, you can special summon this from your hand as an extender. Now, the other effect is you can discard this card from your hand, add one level 3 or lower Fiend Tuner from your deck to your hand. But it doesn't really matter. In this case, we're only using it as a level 5 body non-tuner plus the level 1 tuner equates to a level 6. So what we can actually do is go into Muddy Mudragon, which is very interesting. This card can be used as substitute for a fusion material. So it's very much like King of the Swamp. And he also has a trigger effect, the ignition effect during your main phase. If you control the Synchro Summon card, you can fusion summon one fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters you control as fusion material, including this card. So what that means is if we have a way to get another Tier Limits on the field, we can actually instantly use the effect of Muddy Mudragon to fusion off the Muddy Mudragon plus the Tier Limit Sharon to go immediately into the Tier Limits Rukalo. So it's really, really interesting how we get a one-card Muddy Mudragon, which I'm sure you guys can find better ways to actually abuse this than I can. Maybe there's a way to summon out Dragoon if you have like a Dragon Monsters, because he can actually substitute himself as Dark Magician. There are just a bunch of endless possibilities. Obviously, being able to go into Tier Limits Cloudheart potentially as well if you have the monsters on your side of the field. So just a lot of cool interactions, how this card has a lot more that you can just do. Aside from that combo that we just showed you, you can also go into Muddy Mudragon.
Really quickly, if you guys aren't already subscribed to the channel, definitely consider hitting that subscribe button at the bottom. It'll go a long way to support the channel. Other than that, thanks a lot for tuning in.
So here's a good example of a deck recipe you guys can kind of play around with. Again, shout out to Anthony Ackroth for putting this together. I'm not the one who built this deck, so I cannot take any credit, but I did have a lot of fun just playing it and testing it out. We do have a copy also of Earthbound Servant Geogrim Lina. This is the other reason why Tier Limits combo so well with Earthbounds, because this card says you require one Earthbound monster plus a Dark monster. Are you guys putting one and one together? You'll realize that if you mill a copy of an Earthbound monster as well as a tier monster, a lot like how you could make the Destiny Hero stuff previously, you can actually go into Earthbound Servant Geogrim Lina just off of a Tier Limits monster effect in the graveyard and then an Earthbound monster in your graveyard. And this card says if it's special summoned, you can add an Earthbound monster from your deck to your hand. So now the Tier Limits milling randomly actually has a chance of searching for your Earthbound combos by going into Geogrim Lina. So this is really cool. And then on top of all of that, you can actually target a Dark Synchro monster you control. It can attack directly this turn. So if you're close to time, hey, hit him with a cheesy shenanigan. And if a monster your opponent controls is destroyed by an Earthbound card effect, you can target one of those monsters, inflict damage to your opponent equal to that monster's original attack. Very, very nice. But obviously the main purpose is to search for our Earthbound Prisoner Groundkeeper. If we happen to mill a Tier Limits name plus in Earthbound, we can fusion off, fusion off into. Again, we are maxing out on Earthbound Prisoner Groundkeeper, who is the main normal summon, right? This is effectively a tour guide in the Earthbound Immortal form. And guys, there are a lot of other Earthbound Immortals that you can kind of read through and see if there's anything else you can kind of fit into the deck. There's a lot of different support. We have some previous support from back in the day as well. So just read through them, see if there's anything that fits. But these ones so far are the ones that we decided to play in the deck. 3 Earthbound Prisoner Stone Sweeper. Again, this is a very, very powerful card because you can actually ditch it to add a copy of the Earthbound Prisoner Groundkeeper. Yes, we are actually playing 6 copies of Groundkeeper because this card can immediately be ditched, and then you can normal summon Groundkeeper to special summon either from your graveyard or from your deck. And of course, Groundkeeper can just be used as a generic extender as well. You can special summon it when you have a field zone, when you have a field spell in your field zone, and it doesn't lock you into anything when you do that. So it's just interesting how this card kind of operates. And then Earthbound Prisoner Linewalker. This is the one that upon summon adds a copy of either the field spell or the Harmonic Synchro Fusion. Now, we don't really want to max out on this copy of this card because you don't really want to start with it, right? This is just a card that we want to summon off of Groundkeeper. Again, Groundkeeper being able to summon from the graveyard is highly relevant because this means that even if we mill the one of Prisoner Linewalker, it doesn't really matter because we can just resurrect it anyways off of the Groundkeeper. And then 3 Fenrir because it's really important for that first turn combo starter that we kind of demonstrated earlier. Copies of Tier Limits Kashira. Again, more bodies just to go into level 8 synchros with the Groundkeeper or with the level 3 to go into Baron. And then your tier monsters, generic. You know, you could honestly even play other engines, maybe the horse stuff in here as well, because that helps go into the level 9 synchros. But I decided to play some non-engine here instead. But again, guys, this is just the first iteration of the deck, so give it a try and let me know how it goes. Then we're playing the copy of Harmonic Synchro Fusion. This is the only real brick in the deck, guys, because this obviously is needed to go into your synchro plays, and then at the end of the combo, you know, going to the Wolf Rayet or the Shen Shen plus the giant Squid Kraken dude. So this is just the one brick that we we have to search off of Linewalker. Another card you can experiment with is Earthbound Prison. This is the newest field spell for Earthbound. This field spell actually says when this card is activated, you can target an effect monster your opponent controls. While this card is in the field zone, negate that effect monster's effects. So this is kind of nice going second. It's like a bait out like of a negate, or just use it, you know, searchable, basically searchable for Vinchalis. And then the other effect is, yep, it doesn't end there. During your main phase, you can normal summon one Earthbound monster in addition to your normal summoner set. Very, very nice that you can actually do this, because you can continue to play with your Earthbound mortals. If you actually play Terraforming, I guess you could search for either Prison as an extender or Pearl Rhino to go into your tier plays. And then if this card is destroyed by your opponent's card effect and you have an Earthbound monster in your field or graveyard, half your opponent's life points. And if you do, negate the effects of all face-up cards your opponent currently controls until the end of the turn. So yes, they better not Cosmic Cyclone this, or they will be taking half damage and negating all of their current face-up monsters. And spell and trap cards for that matter. 1-for-1, obviously, to go into Earthbound Prison or Groundkeeper, because when this card is special summoned, you actually get the effect as well. It's not just normal. This is better than Tour Guide, as long as we have ways to actually tutor this guy out. So it's really, really interesting how it kind of combines. And then side deck just generic. You know, I put Shen Shen here in the side deck because the extra deck is very tight. But if Shen Shen is a good meta call, you know, if there are a lot of Fire Kings, I definitely think going into Shen Shen is a lot better than going to Wolfriet, for the sheer fact that, you know, Shen Shen has a walking floodgate effect that says any card sent from the field to the graveyard is banished instead. So when we do eventually get Snake Eyes Populous, it means that that card will not be coming back to the field as a continuous spell card. There are a lot of cool things that this card actually stops. So this is potentially something to experiment with. And then the rest of it is fairly standard. Obviously, Ancient Fairy Dragon could come in handy, you know, blowing up the Pearl Rhino, searching for a copy of Prison and vice versa, or Rathos. The rest is fairly standard. I mean, what do you guys think about this deck? I thought it was really cool that Earthbounds are kind of tied together because they work really well with Fenrir. And then on top of that, we have Geo Gremlina to actually fusion off so they can start searching for each other. And then there's just so many cool things that they interact with. The fact that the field spell exists for the Tearlaments will actually combo very well with cards like Earthbound Prisoner, Stone Sweeper, and then on top of that, the fact that Geo Kraken can search for the Pearl Rhino kind of mishmashes and bridges the two archetypes together. Very neat. Very, very cool concept. What do you guys think about this deck? Let us know in the Squidio comments below. Other than that, thanks a lot for tuning in. I'll see you guys in the next Squidio. There will be more Earthbounds coming up. So guys, stay tuned for that.